Get Jarren Duran to the All-Star game, please. His push for playing in the big game continues in a big series for himself in a big way over the weekend against the Reds.
You are Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Gabby, former ESPN social media associate and current host of the Boston Balling podcast as well. And I am here to bring you the latest in all things Boston Red Sox Monday through Friday, straight to your favorite podcast feed. And want to know the best part? It is free. So you might as well take advantage of that and check it out. Locked On is your team every day. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/lockedonmlb and use code LOCKEDONMLB, all lowercase, for a first deposit match up to $100. Welcome to today's show, and I come to you on this fabulous Monday with good spirits because the Red Sox did win a series over the weekend in Cincinnati. This team continues to win games. They are playing vastly better baseball right now than they did earlier on in the season, and it's been really nice to see them start to click and start to figure things out. Friday night's game was rough. The Red Sox did lose that game 5-2. The problem with the Red Sox primarily in that game was the errors. They made 3 fielding errors in that game, all in the same inning. And that was a huge problem. And the Red Sox were also swinging and missing a ton at the plate. 14 strikeouts total as a team on Friday night. And it was definitely frustrating because the Red Sox were getting into old habits that seemed like they had been starting to be fixed over the last week or so prior to going into that series. And then it was just like everything that they started to do well, they kind of forgot about on Friday night, and they did not play well in that game. Cutter Crawford did start. He went 6.1 innings, giving up 5 hits and 3 earned runs. He did strike out 7 and walked 2, but his problem was the home run. He gave up 3 of them in the game on Friday night, and the home runs do continue to be an issue for the Red Sox pitching staff. Nick Pivetta as well gave up 2 home runs in the Red Sox 4-3 win on Saturday. So definitely something to continue to look out for is the fact that they struggle with the long ball. Pivetta primarily is somebody who could be so dominant if he could just cut down on giving up home runs. So that's something I'd like to see moving forward from him as the Red Sox progress throughout the season. But they did grind to a win on Saturday, 4-3. And one player who just continues to dominate in all facets of the game is Jarren Duran. On Friday night in the Red Sox 5-2 loss, he went 2-4 in that game. He did crush a home run in that one. And then in the narrow 4-3 win on Saturday, he also went 2-4 with a strikeout in that game. And then the Red Sox won 7-4 on Sunday. And then in that game, he went 3-5. So he is on an absolute tear, just continues to crush baseballs. He has a .288 batting average on the season now. And in total, he has 53 runs scored over 323 total at bats, 93 hits, 36 RBIs, and 30 walks to go along with 80 strikeouts and 7 home runs. He also has 20 stolen bases now on the season. So he's not going to crush the long ball a lot. That's not the type of hitter he is, nor do we need him to be that, because he contributes in so many different aspects of the game. And it's very important that the Red Sox continue to keep him in the leadoff spot because he excels there. And it's an absolute game changer for Boston if he's hitting in the leadoff spot and he's able to get himself on base, because more often than not, he will eventually score. And one example of that was in the game on a Saturday when the Red Sox won the game. He scored the go-ahead run on a sac fly by Rafael Devers that did not even go that deep. It was barely past third base, and most players do not score on that, but Jarren Duran, with his speed, made it work and scored from third base for the Red Sox to go ahead in the game, and they ended up holding that lead. So he is just an absolute lightning bolt on the bases. And not only that, but defensively, he makes a difference too. In that same game on Saturday when the Red Sox won 4-3, Kenley Jansen came in to pitch in the 9th inning. He just pitched the 1 inning and gave up 1 hit, but no earned runs. And Jarren Duran made a huge catch to basically take away a home run that would have tied the game in the 9th inning for Cincinnati. Way at the wall, a ball that clearly would have been over the fence had he not caught it. So he robbed a home run and he scored the go-ahead run for the Red Sox on a ball that wasn't even hit that deep. So he impacts the game in so many different ways. And that to me is what a most valuable player for a team does. Right now, he is the Red Sox team MVP because he's making an impact in all the different ways that he could. And if you take him out of the Red Sox lineup right now, that seriously, it becomes detrimental because the Red Sox need him on the base paths, and his ability to make things happen helps the Red Sox tremendously offensively, especially on days where they're struggling to get things going at the plate. Having him in there, who you know can try to get himself on base and come around to score, is a very valuable thing. So when you're measuring team MVP and who's most important to their team, you want to think of the overall impact that a player has and what that team would look like if you take that player off of it. So Jarren Duran for sure has that title right now of team MVP, and it's very well deserved. And it also just further solidifies the fact that he should be in the All-Star game. He's showing so much athleticism this year. And if you see his batting average on paper, obviously he doesn't have the best batting average in baseball, and that number doesn't scream glamorous to me. But it's the fact that he does all of the little things to contribute, and he's recording hits and RBIs constantly. So those are the important things when it comes down to it at the end of the day that make him as versatile and as valuable of a player as he is. So there really isn't a question that he should be in the All-Star game. It's just a matter of, do the Red Sox have players like him who, have a chance to get in as well? Is he the only guy who could get into the All-Star game? Are there other teams whose outfielders people feel are better? So there's a lot of different factors that go into this. If there are other players the Red Sox have that people feel are more valuable to the team, then Duran's All-Star bid might get impacted, and that's why that's important. But I think it would be an absolute disgrace if he's not in the All-Star game. The other thing that makes Duran so special right now is even off the field, he is emerging into a future team leader for this Boston Red Sox team. On Saturday, Alex Cora talked about how they need a team leader within the organization. He didn't exactly say that Jarren Duran is the team leader right now, but he did say that he's starting to mold into that, which is massive. He said Duran's going to help the team for not only this year, but he's going to help everybody in the future. He loves it and understands it. So he's becoming very vocal, becoming that guy that could help set up the organization for a very long time moving forward. So if you're able to showcase your leadership skills off the field as well as be one of the best players on the field, there's no reason that you shouldn't be in the All-Star game. And I feel like Jarren Duran is too important to this Red Sox team right now, and the fact that he's making an impact in every single game in one way or the other is so important. Just continues to hit, continues to get himself on base, and continues to turn one base into two or two into three. And that's just such a valuable skill for any team to have. So Jarren Duran needs to be in the All-Star game. It would just be an absolute disgrace if he's not. Coming up, I'm talking about another player who potentially could be in the conversation to be in the All-Star game because he just continues to be on an absolute tear for this Boston Red Sox team. I love sports. I love them so much. I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs wind down, we get fewer games. And the sports aren't sportsing like I want them to. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a booster or bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com/lockedon and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. If you want the chance to win tons of money, then FanDuel is the perfect home for you. Also, PrizePicks is the perfect home for you if you're looking for a fun way to play daily fantasy sports. PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps, on PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become part of the PrizePicks community today. You can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can literally turn $10 into 1,000 really quickly. If you're looking for promotions, PrizePicks has got you covered every week. From lowering select player stat projections on Tuesdays to help your lineup hit or getting your entry fees back if you have a losing lineup on Fridays. PrizePicks offers so many cool things. Just download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on PrizePicks for a first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. It's PrizePicks. Easy, money, and fantasy sports. What better combo is there? There isn't really one. So you absolutely should check out PrizePicks today. Also, check out Locked On Sports today on YouTube or Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV channels app, as we have launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. And it's also available on Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV channels app to keep you caught up in all things going on in sports. So make sure that you check that out today if you want to stay in the loop on everything. Connor Wong is having himself an unbelievable season for the Boston Red Sox so far, not only defensively, but also at the plate. He is up to a .330 average on the season, and he just continues to hit. Went 2 for 4 in Friday night's loss and hit a home run in the game. And then on Saturday, when the Red Sox won 4-3, he went 1 for 4 in that game with a strikeout as well, but did record a hit. And then in Sunday's 7-4, when he hit a home run again, drove in 2 runs on that home run. So he has been on an absolute tear right now. .330 batting average on the season for him. Over 200 total at-bats. He has 26 runs scored, 66 hits, 29 RBIs, 14 walks, 42 strikeouts, 7 home runs, and 3 stolen bases. The thing that Connor Wong does the best to me is that he continues to put pressure on opposing teams, both behind the dish and at the plate. He is above league average in throwing out potential base stealers behind the dish. And he's hitting to all kinds of the ballpark, and you don't really know what kind of damage he's going to do, whether he's utilizing the long ball or he's hitting a single that scores a run or two. Connor Wong, more often than not, is going to make a positive impact. And that's why the Red Sox continue to get him into games as much as they can. Even when he's not catching that day, a lot of times the Red Sox will still use him as the DH so that they can still get him into the game, which is fantastic. Having those reps and having him continue to play basically every day is only going to serve him well in the long run. When you look at somebody like Connor Wong, he has a great future ahead with this Boston Red Sox team. And this, I think, was the guy that the Red Sox originally traded for when they moved Mookie Betts and they got him in return. They were hoping he would pan out. And this is exactly what they were hoping he would pan out to be, a guy who can facilitate all aspects of the game and make an impact in a variety of different ways. And if he can continue with this, and then you add Kyle Teal into the mix relatively soon, whenever he's ready to get called up to the majors, you are looking at a very deadly catching tandem. And I really like that, and that's exciting for the future of the Boston Red Sox. But Connor Wong has been doing a lot of things well, to the point where you almost feel like he's going to get a hit every time he's up at the plate. And that's really cool, because we can't say that about every hitter in the Red Sox lineup, besides Jarren Duran and Wilyer Abreu, really, before he got on the injured list. And as of late, Cedar Rafaela, because he's been very hot overall, although he was cool in the series against the Reds. Connor Wong is really the only other hitter right now in the Red Sox lineup that you can consistently feel confident in being able to make hard contact and produce offensively. And the thing about Wong is that he's not always looking to hit it deep. That's something that Rafael Devers tends to do, is he's trying to be the hero too much, and he's trying to hit the ball over the fence when he doesn't always have to do that. And then sometimes it ends up coming back to bite him because it results in a strikeout. And he doesn't need to do that. He doesn't need to overstrenuate himself to be the hero. He should just be looking for his pitch and trying to do what he can to help his team and put them in the best position to be able to score during his at bat and as a result of it. And that's something that Connor Wong has been doing very well, is he's just looking for his pitch that he can hit. He fouls off a bunch of balls and he does not settle. He will take a walk if he needs to. He has very strong plate discipline now, which was something we didn't see as much of from him last year. So he's able to be aware and make it harder for an opposing pitcher to throw to him, because he will continue to fight in his at-bats until he finds his pitch and he's able to make contact with one that can do damage. So for this Red Sox team, Connor Wong is one of the best hitters on the team right now. And to me, he also is having an all-star caliber season right now, especially when you look at the catchers across the league. There aren't a whole lot of catchers that are better than Connor Wong at what he does. And it's difficult for opposing teams to steal bases on him because he's constantly staying alert, paying attention, on his toes, not really allowing guys to steal because he's able to throw them out in the capacity and rate at which he is. And that's super important too. I feel like when people are voting on all-stars, they tend to only look at limited numbers. But if you look at the overall picture as a whole of what Connor Wong has been doing this year, he has made a huge impact positively to this Red Sox team. And you know somebody's very good for your team when you can feel confident every time he's at the plate that more often than not, he will do something that makes an impact. And he's gotten those big hits when the Red Sox have needed it. He's blasted home runs to give the Red Sox the lead when they've been behind. He's hit singles to tie games or just to get a base runner because the Red Sox are having trouble generating base runners in certain games. So he is able to generate that from an offensive standpoint. And he has the overall package of being a star catcher in this league. And not every catcher who's good defensively is also good at the plate. So that's something that I believe sets Connor Wong apart, is his ability to click on both sides of the ball, both defensively and at the plate. And he's very good at knowing when to go out for mound visits with his pitchers if whoever's pitching might be feeling a little bit off or their command isn't all there. Connor Wong immediately goes out there and talks to them and tries to walk them through it. And he very much knows when he should and shouldn't be trying to throw out a base stealer. Like on Sunday in the Red Sox 7-4 win, Connor Wong let somebody steal second base essentially in the bottom of the ninth inning because the Red Sox were up by 3 runs and he didn't want to risk an overthrow and letting that run score and closing the gap a little bit. So by defensive indifference, the player was able to steal second base, and Connor Wong knew that it wasn't the best scenario to risk an overthrow by trying to throw out a base stealer when your team is up 3 runs. So I really like his baseball IQ in that way and his ability to have good reads on certain situations. And that naturally does come with being a catcher, but I just particularly like his decision making on the field and how he knows in certain situations what he shouldn't be doing. So in terms of his abilities as a catcher, the Red Sox are very lucky to have him in the role that he's in. And I'm excited to see him continue to grow. And I'm excited to see where he lands in terms of the All-Star votes, because I certainly think he deserves to at least be in the conversation. And I certainly would not be surprised if he ends up getting a spot if he continues to play like this. The All-Star game is right around the corner at this point. So he's just having the type of season where he deserves it. But he was big for the Red Sox in this series against the Reds. And it was a good series for Boston overall. Lots of competitiveness shown from the Red Sox, grinding out a 4-3 win on Saturday, going into Sunday feeling confident that they could close out the series, and they did. And it was a bullpen game. Zach Kelly started the game, went 2.2 innings, gave up 1 hit, but no earned runs. He did strike out 3. And then Brennan Bernardino, Greg Weiser, Cam Boozer, Brad Keller, Chris Martin, Justin Slayton, and Kenley Jansen all pitched in the game. So the Red Sox got quite a few guys reps in this game, and it allowed for the Red Sox to be able to win the game, but give a lot of guys some workload that hadn't pitched in a while. So that was good. And it now leads to Tanner Houck starting tonight against the Blue Jays. So not a bad idea to do a bullpen game on Sunday, and the Red Sox did pull out the win. But coming up, I'm going to be talking about a player who absolutely has to go and has just caused more harm than good for this Red Sox team. Get supplies from the site that's made for the skilled trades. SupplyHouse.com. SupplyHouse.com is the reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands and get your order delivered right to your door with fast shipping from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Get expert support and industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the business and talk to a real person every time. Pros in the skilled trades can get a competitive edge by joining SupplyHouse.com's free Trademaster program. Every Trademaster gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at supplyhouse.com/T-M and order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks at supplyhouse.com. You always want to be prepared with those electrical supplies, so check out Supply House today. Also, just your reminder to check out Locked On Sports Today, the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. It is free and it is available on YouTube and Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV channels app. It is a great way for you to stay caught up in all things going on in sports without having to sit and scroll through Twitter all day to get what you missed. So make sure that you check out Locked On Sports Today, and all of our local experts here will keep you in the loop on everything going on. The Red Sox won 7-4 on Sunday against the Cincinnati Reds, and it was a bullpen game. Lots of different pitchers getting in to get some work in. Jack Kelly started the game, went 2.2 innings, giving up 1 hit and no earned runs and recording 3 strikeouts. And then Brennan Bernardino came in and pitched 0.1 innings, giving up 2 hits and 1 earned run. He did also strike out 1 batter. Greg Weiser, who actually earned the win in the game, went 1 inning, giving up 1 hit and no earned runs. Cam Boozer pitched 1 inning with 1 hit and no earned runs. And then it came to Brad Keller, who was a mess in the game, but then Chris Martin pitched an inning, no earned runs. Justin Slayton, 1 inning, no earned runs. And Kenley Jansen, 1 inning, no earned runs. And Kenley did give up a hit, but he did record the save. So for the most part, the Red Sox pitching staff did their job on Sunday to get the Red Sox the win. But one pitcher who certainly did not do his job in that game was Brad Keller. 1 inning pitched, 4 hits, and 3 earned runs with 1 strikeout. He is up to a 5.13 ERA on the season. He has not been very good at all overall. He did pitch Tuesday night in the loss against the Reds, 1.1 inning, giving up 1 hit but no earned runs. He did also record a walk. That one didn't really matter as much because the Red Sox were losing the game anyway, so not like it really made a difference. But generally, he has not been very good. He's been super frustrating to watch on the Red Sox pitching staff this year. And I wanted to give him a shot because you don't really know how somebody's going to pan out or what they're going to look like. And they might surprise you because you don't really know. Somebody could come in and just adjust really well if they're in the right system for them, and where they were before just might not have been the right place for them. So I said, okay, let's see how he does when he gets here, because his numbers prior to coming to Boston were not very good. And he has not shown an ability to pitch well for this Boston Red Sox team. He has been somebody who has been a weak link in the Red Sox bullpen. His K percentage is poor. He's only in the 12th percentile for that. He's not getting lots of swings and misses. He's in the below average percentile for chase percentage at 31%. His fastball velocity is in the 41st percentile, averaging 93.5. So not fantastic. And in terms of his pitch distribution, he is relying heavily on his slider and his four-seam fastball. And I mean super heavily. He's relying on his fastball 41% of the time and the four-seamer 37% of the time. So those two pitches, primarily in the slider and the four-seamer, are what he's relying on the most. And then he does have a changeup that he uses 17% of the time, and a sinker and a curveball, each of which he uses 2% of the time. But the problem is it's quite literally always a slider and the four-seamer that he is throwing, and it makes it very easy for opposing hitters to figure that out because he is not mixing up his pitches enough. And I feel like he's a temporary solution, especially because of the fact that Isaiah Campbell's still hurt, and the Red Sox have had a lot of moving parts this year and have needed to bring in guys to make up for injured players. So I feel like he's a temporary solution, but oh my gosh, has it been a struggle watching this guy try to perform. And luckily for him, the Red Sox were able to pull out this win, but he did not look good out there at all. And it's very frustrating to see him. I think when you have a team like the Red Sox and you have other guys who are able to perform out of the bullpen, it makes up for it a little bit. So struggles like that often get unnoticed, but he is at the point where the Red Sox need to consider letting him go. And I do feel like he's a potential roster move that could be coming in the future when guys start coming back for the Red Sox and they get healthier. He could be somebody who's on the chopping block because he certainly is a weak link in a Red Sox bullpen that overall has some good pieces, especially between Zach Kelly, Chris Martin, and Kenley Jansen. Those appear to be the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning guys. They locked it down in Saturday's win against the Reds. It went Zach Kelly in the 7th inning, and then Chris Martin in the 8th, and Kenley Jansen in the 9th. So if those three guys continue to pitch the way that they are, those are going to be the shutdown guys in the late innings. And you need to have your other pitchers in there who can help contribute in the earlier innings when the starter gets pulled. And Brad Keller is just unfortunately not one of those pitchers who's going to be able to get the job done. He's very much in the poor or average percentile when it comes to most of his rankings and technique pitching wise. He needs to utilize that changeup a lot more. I'd like to see him mix that in a little bit more if the Red Sox are going to be keeping him around. He is a veteran, which I think is good. It's always good to have more veteran presence in the locker room. That can never hurt. But is that worth it when he is not turning in good performances on the field as a result? So that's where it becomes to the point where it's like, okay, yes, this guy provides leadership, but what else is he providing to the point where we can justify keeping him around on this team? So he has been struggling. Certainly, to me, is the type of player who the Red Sox really need to let go of, but I don't know that they will because they do need the arms, and I think they're hoping that he can at least stay above ground and at least tread water when he's pitching. But if this was a game in which they were losing and then he gave up more runs, it would have been very bad for Boston. Like, luckily, when he came into this game for the Red Sox, they had a big lead. So that helped a lot for sure. But it's just an issue when he's coming in and giving up 3 runs when the Red Sox have a confident 7-1 lead. And then all of a sudden it's 7-4. And then you're looking at having to use your closer, because when Kenley doesn't have to pitch, it's nice for him and it's nice for the Red Sox because he likely is nearing the end of his career. We don't want him to be getting injured. We want him to stay healthy. So it would have been nice if he didn't have to be used on Sunday because he was also used on Saturday. So the Red Sox are going to be in a tough spot if they're in a close game against the Blue Jays tonight and they want to use Kenley and he isn't going to be available. So if Brad Keller hadn't come in and given up those runs that he did, then Kenley wouldn't have likely had to be used in the game because the other pitchers who pitched after Keller didn't give up any runs. So that was another big thing about it too, is yes, you can look at a pitcher on their own and what they've done to contribute to this team. But then when you look at its effect and impact on everything else, that's when it becomes a bigger problem. Brad Keller caused Kenley Jansen to have to come in and pitch in a game in which it really looked like he wouldn't have had to come in earlier on in that game. So get rid of Brad Keller, please. I like to talk about the guys who are performing really well for this Red Sox team, but the guys who aren't getting it done also need to be called out for that as well, because there are going to be weak links, and I would like to see the Red Sox reevaluate that situation with him. This was not nearly the first time this year in which he struggled. He has just not had a good season in a Boston Red Sox uniform coming out of the bullpen, and there are rare times where he does look good, like he did on Friday night, but the bad performances have outweighed the good ones to the point where it's just not worth keeping him around. So hopefully the Red Sox get the message with that too, and they do get rid of him once they start getting players back who are healthy, because they do have a talented pitching staff as a whole. He just is not one of those talented pitchers, unfortunately. Good series overall for the Boston Red Sox, though. Lots of positive things to take away from it. Just playing good, clean baseball in the last 2 games of the series. Lots of different players making an impact and contributing. So the Red Sox just need to keep winning series. They are very much in the playoff conversation. If they can keep winning series, taking 2 of 3 from teams, then they will land that spot in the playoffs. And then, like we always say, anything can happen after that if you just get in. So as always, as the Red Sox are working towards continuing to win games, you just have to keep the faith. Go Red Sox, and I will catch you on the flip side.